to come up and he will introduce his friend that he's known for a long time, and he will tell us a little about her. Her name's Cindy Dyer.
Good afternoon. We are in for a treat. We have Cindy Dyer, the muse of flower photography. And our emphasis is going to be on iPhone or cell phone photography. So you're going to really find her images, which were all taken with cell phones, pretty incredible. Cindy and I met about, she'd like to say, 3 decades ago. So we've shared our interest and done a lot of projects together, and she's amazing. And here she is, Cindy Dyer.
Thank you. Okay, all of these things that you'll learn in here today can apply to what I call my big girl camera, or Android, or iPhone, but he told me it was on iPhone, so I put that in the title. So just put phone and take the I out. Oh, yeah, there's my survey. Who shoots with an iPhone?
Yes.
iPhones,
Yeah.
And who is non-iPhone, Android? Looks like about the same. And who
Okay,
shoots?
everybody leave who's in that group.
And who shoots with a DSLR or something other than a phone?
Not too often.
Oh, we got one. Okay. Okay. All of these rules apply to you. You just get a little extra stuff. I take when I go out to the garden, I take my iPhone and my camera and 2 lenses, my long lens, my macro, and a slightly normal lens so I can get wide shots. So if you go, the little card I gave you, if you go to the cindydyer.com, which is my new botanical photos only website, you can go in the upper right-hand corner. There's a lot of photos, and I told my niece who designed it, I don't want to cut out the photos. So she did a really beautiful job. Just get your popcorn and your soda and watch it. And then at the top you'll see freebies, and you can download this book, little magazine. I'm a graphic designer by day, and I designed this kind of like how-to, and the whole back half are all iPhone photos. And then on the back it's kind of like reference books and websites that I like, and then things I carry in my bag. The only thing you'll find when you download that on the back, I think I mentioned my diffuser, which I'll get into. They don't carry that particular one on Amazon anymore, but you're looking for a diffuser to do the things that I'm talking about.
We can't hear you. Mike.
Okay, sorry. Okay, when you download this, I'll tell you something different about the diffuser. And I also have some of these for purchase for $5. That's my cost. So professional photographers get this all the time. You must have a nice camera. So I can shoot with anything you hand me, and I think get good shots. So we think this is funny. When I was little, my dad subscribed to National Geographic, and I said, that's what I want to do. And I was always in fine art. That's what I want to do. I want to travel the world and shoot for National Geographic. So when I was in my 20s, I just moved to the DC area. A friend of mine said, you need to buy that $99 vest at Banana Republic when they used to sell stuff like that. And I was like, $99? I think I was making 20 grand a year. And so I did a freelance job that took me like half an hour, and they paid me $100. So she marched me over to get my vest, which I still have. And then she's an illustrator, so she made that be my National Geo pass. And I've never worked for them yet. Never say never. They just haven't found me yet. So this is my first line of stamps with the U.S. Postal Service, and the way I got into is apparently it's very hard to get in. I had my first botanical show at Green Spring Gardens, which is a Fairfax County, Virginia park. And the art director's wife, one of the art director's his wife, came in and saw my work and ran home to tell him about it. And I got a call from the acquisitions agency who handles all the contracts and scouting out for new talent. And they asked me if I wanted to work with them, and I said, oh, yes, of course. And they go, well, they pay. And I went, oh, that's even better. But I would have done it for free, but don't tell them that. So that came out in 2014 as 49 cents. And, yeah, I know, right? And eventually it came into Forever, and that's what Salem's showing the Forever. They issued it in rolls of 10,000, I think. So my friends were like, we can't go by and brag that we know you, and I go, we could all pitch in. But eventually they released it where you could buy 5 or, you know, a booklet. And then the next year was the water lilies, and those were all shot at Kenilworth, and those sold really well for the, I would like to have had a commission on that one. And then I said, I was on Jeopardy, my stamps were on Jeopardy, which is, yeah. Isn't that cool? That's cool. Well, I wasn't on Jeopardy, but and then I had one stamp in the National Park 100th Anniversary Commemorative. And, I was one of 3 photographers who went to Jacob Javits because it's only 4.5 hours for me. And so that was a lot of fun. And I was telling Teresa that when you get stamps like that, they have like a long line and they have all the stamp fans come and you have to autograph stuff and they're so excited to meet you and you're like signing all the stuff, like a little celebrity in the stamp world. Like, please, no more autographs. And then in 2022, they released the global stamp, which they've been doing that since 2013. And it's always around like a ball, a basketball, or a globe. And these were images I had shot 6 years earlier. And they called me and said, remember those photos of round flowers we asked you to drop the background out? Well, we want to use one, because I never know when they ask me for stuff if it isn't going to happen. So that one paid more than the other ones. So now I can say it goes all over the world. So my cat Pixel approves. So I say, where do I start? And I mean, where do I start in my garden? So you all have gardens. So this is a bed my husband built. We have another bed across from it, and I'm like, oh, you know, I love new beds because it's right possibilities. And so I planted a lot of muscari and the fringed tulips, and you know, it's a record shot leading in. But a lot of people who don't shoot a lot will go, well, how do I get those shots you get where you're treating it like a headshot, a portrait? So you get low, and you just start. I get down on the ground and just start, and these are all iPhone. Okay.
We're doing this because our video is not showing her, we have a black silhouette, so.
Yeah.
We're gonna sacrifice a little bit of intensity on the photos because we wanna see Cindy.
Okay. And although you can spray it with glycerin or, you know, or water your yard and go do it, most of the, when you see the spots like that, I actually waited till after the rain, and it just adds an extra element, and just like bugs do, and I'm a real big bug lover, so. So anytime I can get a photo with a bug. And we know how tiny those little guys are, so. Now, if you have an iPhone, one of the apps is not available for Android yet. It's called Camera Plus 2, and it allows you to get extra close. It does a lot of other things. It slows down the shutter speed so you can get blurry water, but I use it mostly to get in closer with my macros. So that was kind of a mutant looking one. So this is a view from my bench in my backyard. So this is a townhouse backyard and front yard. We have no grass. I got rid of all the grass.
Sounds like Arkansas.
Yes. I can put a lot of plants in a small space. And then my husband calls us the hanging gardens of Babylon. And I every year I plant something different in it. But you know, because it has small pockets, you have to keep it watered like daily. So that was this year's, and then last year's was all greens. And I love photographing it as I go along. It's always with my iPhone. And then we had a big harvest. And I love growing elephant ears in Washington. And so it helps to have a friend who likes to color coordinate with your upholstery. And he's a photographer as well. This is the view when I unlock my front door and I look over. So I can't imagine what a delivery person looks over and like, this is a jungle back there. And these are just little, I call it Lilytopia. I have probably 15 different types of lily growing in pots. Does anyone know that problem? Yeah. And then whoever you do get to water has to swear, you know, to swear that. I made this cement leaf. They're quickcrete leaves. I had a little garden club in my community, and I did this as a project, and it was so much mess. It's very cheap. A bag is like $6, but it's so much mess that I wouldn't do it again. And there were several ladies who missed it. Will you do it again? I go, if you buy the stuff, we'll do it in your backyard. Because it's 2 weeks of waiting for them to cure before they come back for a meeting and then paint them and all. And my whole yard is full of drying cement leaves. So I do grow some edibles. I don't mean those kind of edibles. So those are my little cherry tomatoes. Very tiny cherry tomatoes. And then I do creative things like, his name is Mater Melvin. So I'm sure everybody has backs of their trucks look like that. And I kind of went crazy, and you'll see later, I kind of went crazy on the bearded iris because there's so much fun to photograph, and I call them my drama queens. And I have to write it down so I know what I'm planting because I'm putting a lot of stuff in there. So that was the start. It also helps me if I photograph it when I planted it. So they're the easiest things in the world to plant. They just sit on top. Well, you saw that, just don't wear a bra when you're gardening. I don't know where I found those, but we have 3 cats, and Michael's the garden king, and he kind of looks like that, except without the crown. But that's on the shed. So I love little garden things, so he's a frequent visitor. So this is when we get in some little lessons. So Love in a Mist. Just give you some ideas of how to see. You can walk up and photograph something, but if you just slow down a little bit, you can get off-center compositions. And I always diffuse the light, and I'll show you how I'm doing that. And zoom in. This was actually on, Nikon interviewed me, and they, if you go to Learn and Explore, it's on the back page of that booklet, Learn and Explore with Nikon, and put how to grow your garden photography skills, and you'll see that. And that was another one. We're going to pay you, and I went, even better. I do a lot of abstract stuff like that. Because you don't have to photograph the whole flower to get a good bud up. And you don't always have to do an odd number. It's just very, I'm not sure why, psychologically it's very pleasing to do odd numbers. Sometimes if that little bud hadn't been there, I would have still done a shot with the 2. Did age alter the look? And so anything that leads your eye into the picture, like a path going up to the gazebo, or this is the same principle. And with some of the lenses, even on Android or iPhone, you can get pretty close. Like I said, the best thing would be if like maybe like a hoverfly or a bee landed on it. So that's when you get a little get a little excited. And try different angles, overhead, underneath, backlit. Most of mine are diffused. There's another leading line. The backlit. We stopped traffic so my friend Michael and I could get out and photograph those. People weren't very happy, but it's art. You can't stop art. I call this Pac-Man party. It was like Pac-Man. I love photographing skies with my phone. That's when I should have put that one about. You'll see it. And this was shot in the panoramic mode with the iPhone. I don't know if the Androids have it, but. And then I used, there's an app that's free that you can download for Android or iPhone. It's called Snapseed, and it allows you to darken and lighten and contrast and do some funky things to it. And you can also put these really cool grunge borders or Polaroid borders. It makes it really artsy. So if you don't have that on Android or iPhone, download it because it's free and it's great.
And it's called what?
It's Snapseed, S-N-A-P-S-E-E-D. And it's free. That's what I use to process all mine. And I'll photograph my bearded iris in the garden, and then I'll come back in. Even though I shoot with my phone, I'll go back in and I'll start playing Snapseed, and it's up on my website or Facebook or my blog within 10 minutes. But you can process your stuff with Snapseed and not put a border around it. But a really great place to shoot is go to the farmer's market when they have all the pumpkins and gourds and all, and the mums. I get some really great shots. And these were shot regular. I just cropped them in Snapseed just to make like kind of like a tall panorama. And who knew ornamental cabbage could be so photogenic? And this is a wall of pumpkins and gourds that have a local nursery. And I just go in, and I do use the perspective changing with Snapseed so your lines are vertical. or 157. But hopefully this inspires you that you don't have to shoot the whole plant to have something dramatic. And the beautiful thing about phones is because it has a smaller sensor, you get more depth of field than you would with your DSLR. If I photograph a bug on a flower, probably everything's going to be in focus. Where when I'm using my regular camera with the lens, I have to choose, okay, the bug's eyes are going to be in focus and everything else falls out. That's the beauty of, I love to photograph my bugs and the close-ups with the phone.
And usually you want to focus on eyes. Eyes are what we are all drawn to. So if you're shooting people,
Or
pets,
bugs, or pets, yeah.
Or Cindy.
I'm going to go through these kind of quickly so we get to that.
It's going to be a test. So these are all numbers, so make
You're right. You win a prize if you guess the first 10. But if you know, if you don't get a lot of rain and you want to do the raindrop thing, you just take your butter hose and then run out with your phone. And I shoot, I go to Lowe's and Home Depot and garden centers, and oh, those are in bloom, and I don't have to buy them, I just photograph them. Because there's no more room for another plant in my garden. I love this. I wish I'd drawn that. And Linda's waving. So this was actually shot with my Nikon. I was photographing the Zowie zinnias at a park, and I had my tripod set up because I like to shoot a lot with the tripod, because then I can hold my diffuser or walk away. And that eastern tiger swallowtail landed, and I got 3 shots before it was gone, so that's one of my favorites. But you could have shot that with a phone, you just have to be more patient and get in closer. And that was in my garden. He was landing on my husband's shoulder, and I said, oh, he said, well, I gotta work. So I took him off, and I went green and purple, so I put him on the and I shot it. I'm an opportunist. And that's it. You can see on the bottom, there's a little harvestman spider. And skippers. Cucumber beetle, it's invasive, but. So for 5 or 6 years, I've had a mourning dove, and she always, whenever I have an empty pot, she does it out in the open where the late eggs can get eaten. They're very pretty, but they're not very smart. And then she laid the eggs, and then I photographed the little babies. I even have some photos where they're one brood, they're fledgling and they're stretching out their leg and trying out their wings. Proud mama. This was photographed in FT and Nancy's backyard a couple years ago. And the locust, this is when we had the big brood, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. I had a lot in my yard. I think they're just the cutest things. And he's on my reflector, my diffuser. Hitching a ride. And my cat discovered them. He was on the outside. The bug was safe. But like, and I was like, I think he needs his nails trimmed something fierce. So his name is Queso, because he's yellow. And I found him outside a Mexican restaurant. And stink bugs. Hoverfly. So the next one is, I was looking for a photo from several years ago, and I knew that you could make your phone show like a whole year. So if this is true, this is really true. So does it look like the braided rugs, the little colorful braided?
Instead of a photo library.
So inspiration in unexpected places is the grocery store and flower markets and the farmer's market. All of these were shot at grocery stores or big box stores. There's a farmer's market. I had a friend of mine she was working downtown DC, and she said she bought some stargazer lilies, and she was sniffing them, and she didn't realize. So her husband's gonna pick her up at the metro, and she gets on the metro, and she's sitting down, and everyone who sits down moves over. And she's like, do I smoke about you? And then everybody, even people who really needed to sit down, oh no, I'll stand. And her husband goes, what is wrong with your face? She had nobody, she had all this thing, because she had put the flowers on the ground, on the floor, and nobody saw the flowers. Oh my God. Do this. I did that with butterfly bushes, because it said butterfly bush, plant 4 feet apart. I went, I don't have that much room in a townhouse garden. Let's put them a foot and a half apart, and they got huge. I had to give some away. Celosia. And this is my all-time favorite shot with the phone, because I was drawn to that little framing. You're looking for framing element. I love succulents. So get to my drama queens. This is using the 645 panoramic mode, which you can also do with panoramic on the iPhone. That's in Iceland. So this is when I enlist the help of whoever's standing by. Because sometimes it takes a villager. So that's my husband, and that's one of the, oh, the yellow ones are blooming. So I have a piece of foam core that I put black flocking. It's adhesive, and you can get it on Amazon. I think you line it for boxes for jewelry if you're showing at a craft show. So he's diffusing the light coming from the left, and then here's the result. And if you do this, you need a really dark cardboard, but if you use Snapseed, you can go in and darken it. You can darken the black. I also take it into Photoshop and clean off the cat hairs that are stuck to the black. So it's not straight out of the camera like that. So Michael's a puppeteer here. This is on our landing because we didn't want to trample against the fence of the wall. So he said, oh, I'll rig this up. And he's really like a good Boy Scout like that. And he lowered it, and then we found out a couple years later that he actually has relatives from years ago who used to be puppeteers, and they travel around the country. He's continuing so that is him helping me many, many times, and then there's the end result. And I do this, not that you can't photograph your flowers in the garden as is, but you don't get all that other stuff behind it. It really becomes a portrait, like a portrait of a person. And sometimes behind that might be the asphalt or the neighbor's car. So here's my friend Michael in the backyard. Somebody planted these in the common area, and then there's the result of that. Here he is in the front with one of my little dwarf ones. And you'll see, you'll see the little wrinkles on the, actually, that is an IKEA cube, foldable cube, because I didn't have my board handy. I had to Photoshop those out, the wrinkles. So these are my girls, I call my drama queens. And I get so excited to photograph these guys. And I just had a show at Children's National Hospital in DC, and I had a lot of these blown up to 20 by 30. And these are all in my garden. So, here's that. And you can try it with white cardboard too, a whiteboard, just clean it up if you're good with Snapseed or Elements or... I call this one Tango. And it's really fascinating because one bud will die and another one's coming up, and at all stages, they're just so much fun to photograph. I got the Shriner's Iris catalog, and then I started looking at the prices, and they were like $35 for one. And like, with my luck, they wouldn't make it, and then I'm out all that money. And these are alliums growing in my garden. I just put a black cardboard behind. Here's one showing the white. You do clean it up in Snapseed or Elements or Photoshop. And this is dyed. You guys know those are dyed. So this is what do I do when there aren't flowers to photograph? You make bread for the first time. They're successful. You pickle. Yep. You photograph cats, more cats. Who photographs their cats? Oh, yeah. They're such good subjects, even if they don't like it. Yeah, again, he needs his claws trimmed. Look at it. That's Pixel. So a friend of mine said, oh, he looks like he's got a surfboard behind him. So we do this. Now he does. No pets were harmed in the making of this photo. And this one, they're in the window looking out, and I just happened to see the bird book, and I was like, was that made for a shot? And it was taken at 9:24 a.m. Did everybody get the thing on the bottom? Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. I came out of the bedroom and I went, oh, this is great. So, true, right? Yeah, they're most beautiful. And then Michael and I drive all over Kingstown trying to find like a parking garage and we get up high. And I go, where is it? Where is it? So you try to crop out the drugstore or the grocery store. That's queso. He's so photogenic. He has his own Facebook page. He doesn't do any of the work, but he was a little high. And that's Lobo. And that we have to do that in our townhouse. She doesn't look too happy. And here, that's Lobo in my art studio. And get down low, and then that's because I just thought the sky was spectacular. Yeah, he had the zoomies. And people always ask, do you decorate so it looks good against your cats? Yes. And that was in panoramic mode on the iPhone too. And this is just out the kitchen window, and I turned it to black and white. He grew into the years.
Wow.
I just love this one because a little teapot. It looks like he's doing the I'm a little teapot. I was like, stay there till I can grab my phone. And that's the thing, you need to have your phone with you all the time. This is a painting I do portraits when I have parties, and he just happened to be standing in front of it. I was like, I should just leave it there. The trifecta. When we got a king-size bed, they were like, oh, this is nice. And sometimes I sleep in the other bedroom when they get to bed before I do, and there's two in my spot. I go, all right, and I won't move them. We were redoing the kitchen floor, and I drew on the underlayment, and he came over to inspect the sketch I did on him. I love this one. I came out of the bathroom and I went, oh, they look like they're in jail. Cats behind bars. I was cleaning up underneath the bed, and I came up, and he's just like, oh, that's a cool composition. We have this little round window in our foyer, and he always likes to sit in it.
You like Moses?
But let me show you. So this is the diffuser. They also make them in round, and the ones that you'll see are on Amazon. The ones you'll see on Amazon are usually round, and they'll come with other covers like gold and silver. But you'll use this and say that's the sunlight, and here's your flower. If you can hold it or have your villager hold it, you'll hold it like that and diffuse. And that's how I get those really saturated colors. It doesn't mean that I don't photograph things in sunlight, but I usually will diffuse. I try to shoot in the morning when the sun isn't as bright. And if the only time I can shoot is noon, or there is a bearded iris in bloom, I will use my diffuser.
And the most important thing about always having your camera with you, now there's no excuse because we do have these phones. You can in your purse in the car, that doesn't do any good. What you can add is you can get a little $10 silicone neck thing where you can put your phone in here, and when you're out walking around and you see something, you can just grab it and shoot. There's no excuse. I want to see all these great photos. Shoot, shoot, shoot.
I also carry, this is not one of those, but you can go to Five Below. You can use, like he uses a flashlight. You can go to Five Below and get these little, they're usually square, and they're little lights.
LEDs.
And they get pretty bright, but let's say I'm photographing like a trillium or a lady slipper or something in shade, and I'm not getting enough light, and I don't need to diffuse, obviously. I'll just add a little bit extra light when I'm shooting. So if you can hold your phone and this, or you get your villager to come with you to hold it. So I keep this and the diffuser always come with me. I think that's, yeah, does anybody have any questions? No?
Looks fun. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
I was just gonna ask, I was looking on Amazon about the diffusers, and they have one like you have, and then there's a package with like gold and black and That's just to do like what you just showed?
For backgrounds?
Yes.
No, for the diffuser. The white, the beauty of the
Oh,
white.
you could use that when you're photographing. I would probably use the silver side if you wanted to bounce some light up underneath the flower. I've done that. You can get some small ones to bounce a little light in there. But with Photoshop and Snapseed and all, you can.
So what this is good for is that it's diffusing the light, or it's also reflecting. So that's the beauty of it. It does those
Yeah.
two things.
And it's really good for people. So how many times have somebody, oh, stand in front of this, flower garden or the sign entrance to the garden, and they photograph you and your friend's like, because of the sunlight.
Or that modeled shade on their face. This
Yeah,
one-
have somebody else hold this up, and you get great shots, because it looks good on people, it looks good on flowers, but I recommend getting one of these. On the back of that file that you download, the little book you download, it's gonna mention the Selland brand, and I don't think they carry it anymore. You're just looking for a photography diffuser, and you'll see one that says 5 covers, and it might be $16. So they're really worth it for portraits or photographing your flowers.
Or if you have a white umbrella, you can do the same thing.
Yeah.
Tack down nice and tight. So it's also an umbrella. It can be a diffuser or a reflector.
So I have some of these, if you want a hard copy, I have some of these up here for $5. That's what I paid for to get them printed if you guys want a hard copy. And then you've got the little cards, so if you have any questions or, thank you. Thank you, nice lady. You can email me if you have any questions, or, but visit that cindydyer.com. And if you like flowers, obviously you do, but I have the Cindy Dyer Photography will show portraits, because I love doing portraits too, so. Thank you, thank you.
For hours, stop and take a look at it. It's enlightening.
Okay, we have some good numbers though, even though a few of us are not helping yet. We have 15,679 sanctioned working hours, 967.5 non-sanctioned working hours. That makes a total work hours of 16,046.5. And we have 4,715 and 75% of our education. So remember, it's easy to get education. Read a book, watch a TV show, read a magazine, look up something on the internet. We have 86 present today, and I forgot my sign-in sheet, my guest sign-in sheet. If y'all like to stand up and tell us who you are, we would love for you to. Star, could you stand up? And we want to introduce, okay, at the back. Sally Jones is going to be taking it online. Right, okay, thank you. Cindy?
Rhonda Backus,
Rhonda?
and I'm taking it online.
Okay, Rhonda's going to be taking it online, so they'll be finished by December. Anyone else taking it online? Cindy, you're Cindy, aren't you?
Cindy.
Cindy?
Christy.
Christy, all right. And she's gonna be taking it online. And then, all right. And you're taking it online too? Okay, good. And Star, we are glad to welcome you. You're from Craighead County, Jonesboro, and he has joined us today. And we're glad to have you here.
Thank you. Okay, project guidance. Elaine. I am happy to say that we have found new chairs for every project. There's still the problems of getting someone to help us with the newsletter, take training from Hildy on how to do the hours, but we've accomplished what we needed to. We've got new chairs for every committee next year, and I will talk to those new chairs individually and check on who you're planning to get as assistants. So for now, we're at a good point on that, and we'll start working the end of this year on next year. That's it.
Okay, our past president, Sherry.
All right, thank you. First of all, as we've met some of our new online people, there are 9 people who have signed up, and we've interviewed for the online class that starts October 2nd through December 9th. I need 9 mentors. I have 3 already. If you are willing and able to be a mentor, I would really appreciate that. I have a sign-up sheet right here, if you'll come up after the meeting and sign up. So I need 6 people. Oh, one more. I already have 1 more, so I need 5 more. And we'll get started with our new people. They're anxious to start, and so are we. Other thing, CART. We have completed Langston now as the first CART review for this year. This morning, we reviewed the Habitat for Humanity house that is being built right now. The dedication is next Thursday, I believe. So they're going to have a final work day on Monday to do the actual planting. The flower beds, they built those this morning. So we're moving right along with CART. That'll be our last one for this year. And last but not least, our current class. I have 2 additional first-year Master Gardeners who have certified, completed all their hours. So I have busy bee pins for you if you're here. Marty Martinez, please come up, and Brenda Swanson.
It was at the meeting that
You were here last time. Let him get in too. She wasn't here last time.
Okay, happiness is? Please. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, our county agent is not here today. He's on vacation. So let's move into unfinished business. Our county fair wrap-up, Shar and Pam Vance.
treasurer, did you? Treasurer, finances?
She did it already.
She didn't do finances. She didn't do treasurer. She did, yes. Must have been quick.
Okay. Well, there you go. Tell her to trip over it, I do. Anyway, the county fair is over, yay. However, it was successfully completed. We had 169 volunteers that participated in helping us pull off the county fair, which I think, yahoo, that's a great number. We had 1,600 visitors. And again, we take the number of votes in the contest, and then we add a percentage to that to come up with a number of how many visitors we had in the building. Again, the numbers are down. We had a couple days of rain. So still, 1,600 visitors exposed to what the Master Gardeners do, I think is a pretty decent number. School days, we had 175 kids. So again, a great big thank you and a round of applause to 169 volunteers for the county fair. A special call out to Donna Woodard for helping us with Sign Up Genius, and her husband helping to come down and break down the building. Sharon Bennett volunteered to read in Kids Corner and gave away 100 of her books, and she's so endearing to the kids, they loved it. And of course, Mary Whitberg, the whole Kids Corner, she helped us get school youth entries into the county fair, so a special call out to Mary for doing all of that. And I want to personally, as you can see, my co-chair had a little accident, and her husband Rick that was just an incredible, we called each other Cocos. He was there every minute. He ran around whenever we needed something.
It was my legs.
So just a special heartwarming, Rick, thank you so very much for everything you did for us. And he also did his make your own garden bench drawing, which we had 128 entries. And the person who won was ecstatic that he was able to win those materials. So, and I am happy to announce that in 2025, Pamela Benz is the chair and Linda Fleming's the co-chair.
Okay, we had our ultimate potting party, which was a huge hit. The first place winner was Carol Scrivener. She had 292 votes. Elaine Taylor, she was second. She had 216 votes. And Diane Arrington, 212 votes. She was third place. And it was such a huge hit. I'd like to thank everybody that did an ultimate for the contest. It was such a hit, and that's our way of kind of knowing how many people come into the horticulture building. And what we do at the fair, when people come into the building, is we like to greet them, make them feel welcome. We steer them over to the ultimate potting party, and that helps us kind of guesstimate how many people came into the building. You said we had 1,600, like you said, 1,600 votes for the ultimate potting party. Special thank you to Debbie Vogel. She did 6 entries. Woohoo! So we had 21, right? 21 pots, which was really great, and people really loved it. And when we steered them over there to vote, they would say, oh yeah, I voted last year for the scarecrows. This year, so they're getting used to it. It really helps so that we know how many people are coming into our building. And yes, it was down, the whole fair was down because of the weather. We had that one day, I think it was Tuesday or something, that was raining all day. We hardly had anybody. But other than that, it was a great success. We have so much fun doing it. And I gotta tell you, Tony, you were awesome. She grabbed everybody that was coming into that building and steered them over to vote. It was really great. Thank you, Tony.
Last year, Tony, just so y'all know, convinced people that she would win a cruise if they voted for her scarecrow. This year, it was a Ferrari or Lamborghini. So I think it worked pretty well, Tony. Thank you. Yeah.
I also want to announce, since Mary Whittenberg is the youth activities director not here, that a lot of our students from the schools won ribbons for their herbs, their flowers, their vegetables. They got best of show off the best sweet potato show I've ever seen. But so they got the best of show for the whole event. Because it was so exciting.
No.
Yes.
And the reason, we could have had more kids on the school day, but I guess they had some nationwide warning, I don't know what it was. Online shooting threats, and so we didn't get as many kids, and it also was raining that day. Next year, we're gonna have more kids, I know we will, and we're gonna have more entries. Shar and I had actually met with 4-H, and we had met with the library, and we took pots and soil and seeds, and we helped the kids plant, hoping that we would get some of them to enter. None of them did, but it's gonna be better next year. We had more children entering this year than we did last year, so we're gonna get there. And so the fair is really great, so if you like something that's fun, sign up next year. Thank you, everybody, for all your help. And a special thank you to my husband. He was awesome. Okay, next on our agenda, we had some policies and procedure changes suggested, and Susan Koenig is going to present that. And I want to apologize for the spelling on her name. It's Koenig. Sorry, Susan.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so you should have, I had handouts at the beginning for what we're gonna change on policies and procedures this year. It's mostly housekeeping stuff. We don't have a lot of big changes to our bylaws or our policies. So the first thing under membership, the lifetime and lifetime plus, we're adding to that section that the 5 years do not have to be consecutive. So that's pretty straightforward. The next thing in the bylaws is the officer duties. The president shall, and we're taking out, be one of the 3 authorized to sign checks, because we don't sign checks anymore on a local level. And what I failed to put in your sheet, but the next thing after the president signs checks, number 5 in there says, appoint an audit committee by December 1st. We don't do audits anymore, so we have to take that out of the bylaws, but it's not on your sheet. I forgot to put that in. Okay, the vice president will also, we're gonna take out, be one of the 3 authorized to sign checks, because they don't do that. And the same with the treasurer, signing the checks, and work with auditors to facilitate annual audits, since we don't do the audits anymore. We still do audit, we don't do the audits, the state does the audits, we don't have to do them. Let's see, the next thing, the immediate past president shall oversee mentoring, and we've added and CART. That's just another duty that the vice president, or past president has to do. Okay, then the next page in finance, we're removing check signing. We don't do that anymore. We're removing checks may be signed by the treasurer, president, or first vice president. We're also removing checks exceeding $250 require 2 signatures. We don't write checks anymore, so we don't need all that in there. And the same with the audits. The section on taking the audits out, we don't do the audits anymore. See, this is moving along really quick. Okay, committees and projects. We're adding that chairs are expected to serve for 2 years. What we're adding is they cannot serve longer than 2 years and are encouraged to prepare their subsequent chair. Then we're adding, if there is no one to take over the project as chair after the 2-year term, the project will be suspended until a new chair volunteers to chair the project. And that's just keeping in line with the state rules. And the only other thing we have to take out is the October calendar select audit committee, since we don't do audits anymore. Okay, any questions? What?
On chairs cannot serve longer than 2 years. Does that mean that in a couple more years they can't be chair?
They can come back at a later date and chair, but they cannot do a second 2-year term. They cannot do consecutive 2-year terms. They have to step back.
Does it need to be specified that after a certain period they can become chair again? Because right now it says they can't serve longer than 2 years.
I don't know, we need to clarify that in the bylaws. We don't do it for the other officers.
I don't know if, well, let's do this. Let's put that on hold as a suggestion for next year's policies and procedures. I know that we do not have an issue with it this year since it is clear for this year. And I think that is something that the group might want to have a little discussion about. I don't think the state has a policy on how long you stay out. I have heard Randy Force say that they do have chairs that will come back after a few years and take over, but I don't know that there's any specific retirement period they have to be out. Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Okay. We have a motion. The ad hoc Policies and Procedures Committee moves to approve the suggested changes to our policies and procedures. Those in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, that passes. Okay, and I did want to mention, we have put on hold also any edits that we are going to do about officer positions as far as those assistant positions that we are electing. As I mentioned at the last meeting, this is sort of an experiment, a trial period to see how that works. And if it does work well, then we'll come back either next year or the year after and make that a real policy change. Okay, going to new business. Oh, sorry, one other item of unfinished business, the memorial tree for Melvin Daniels that we approved earlier in the year. I wanted Hildy to give you an update on what all has happened with that, please.
All right. How well do you people remember last year? Melvin Daniel was teacher in Hot Springs. He was at the Lake Hamilton schools. Are we still there?
Turn it off.
I'm sorry, what?
Look at the button.
Did I move the button? Okay, I'm just going to talk loud. No, I don't even have to. Okay, he was a teacher at Lake Hamilton Schools, and he was one of our agents here prior to Alan Bates. He was the agent when I came 15 years ago, and all of us from way back when who still remember him know that he was a wonderful person. What? That's a good thing. So anyway, Melvin Daniels died in August of last year, and at the time I thought, we have this practice and this procedure and this, I can't think of the right word. Anyway, we have money that we're setting aside up to $50 for members, active members, when they're passing away, to do a memorial for them. And I thought how nice it would be if we did something for a man who did lots of things for a lot of master gardeners, like me, who came in new, didn't know anybody, and who was there to support us and help us. At the time I said maybe we ought to include Melvin in that procedure of having the memorial for a person who passed away. And last year we agreed to it. As a group, we had a motion, we agreed to it. We were looking for things. I was suggesting maybe a tree would be a good thing for him. Something from Arkansas, since he's from the Hot Springs area. He grew up in Bismarck. Something from Arkansas, and something that would really represent us as a group and the person who led us. So we discussed it last year, and we talked about putting a tree somewhere within Hot Springs. I talked to Alan Bates, who is now the arborist for Hot Springs, and he said, I was mentored by him, and I will take part of my budget and help you and get a good tree together. So we talked about that, and we were almost ready to kind of to kind of make it happen when our financial guidelines changed, and we didn't know where we stood. So Jimmy Triggers and Alan and I talked about it some more, and Alan said he would be willing to help us, get a tree, and he was suggesting an Jacobin oak. It's an Arkansas native, a pretty one, and planted right by the farmer's market. There is a tree that needs to be replaced, and he thought maybe he could use his budget and make it a bigger tree. And also we would put on a plaque saying the Garland County Master Gardener, in conjunction with the City of Hot Springs Parks Department, is donating this tree in memory of Melvin Daniel and my other master gardeners who have served in this country for the last 35 years. The wording is not clear. None of that has been said. I'm asking you, first of all, I'm telling you that's what was decided or discussed, and Alan said, you just let me know and I'll buy a tree. And he was suggesting we get a bigger size tree, and I'm not sure if maybe up to $200 would be a reasonable amount. I don't know if you board members would be willing to have a motion at this point, but this is the update.
Okay, I don't know that we would have to alter any motions or, I don't know that we can change the amount, but we have committed $150 to that effort in the motion that was approved earlier in the year. We can discuss with the tight budget we're gonna have next year. I don't know if that'll be an option. Okay. All right, yes.
Will there be a plaque on the tree?
Is the plaque gonna go in the ground next to it, or how is the plaque going to display?
We don't know yet.
To make it easy for us with the new financial guidelines, Alan had said he would buy the plaque, put it in front of the tree, whichever wording we have, we would just be doing our share on the tree. So he would have probably the biggest part of the costs, and we would put, if we said 150, put 150 towards the tree, and that's all there is to it.
The plaque itself, though,
The plaque will be, Brian Fisher said they will put a rebar into the ground, put it, and mortar it in some way. The plaque will be there and will be mentioning Melvin, the Master Gardeners, and the cooperation between the city and us.
Right, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to new business. Our awards committee, Sheila needs to visit with you just a moment.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sheila McClarty, and I'm on the committee this year for the awards nominations. And I'll be brief because we're running kind of late. This is the year that for all year you have been asked to vote. And you don't have to wait till November. You can vote today. Because what we'd like, by October the 1st, we need to have all the nominations from you all to celebrate each other for Garland County Master Gardeners. Look around the room. Think about the people that aren't in the room right now. We have got a lot of projects. We've got a lot of people to celebrate. We had a big year this year. We did our normal big menu of projects, and we threw in a little state conference. And we threw in a parade and a float. I mean, it was a very big year, and let's celebrate that. Let's sit back and think for a minute. You know, there's a project that you love to go to, and you feel pretty good every time you go. There's somebody that you see doing a lot of different projects and a lot of committees. So let's recognize them. If you do not have your nominations form, I'm going to have them when we leave today. I'm going to have them in the lobby at that little table. And these are the awards I want you to start considering. We want to consider the Garland County Master Gardener of the Year Award, the Rookie of the Year, that's for our first years for 2024. Among those first year Master Gardeners, we're going to give an award for Rookie of the Year. Also the Mentor of the Year. So again, mentoring the new people for this year. The Project of the Year Award. We also need nominations for Excellence in Education. And we have a number of projects which are educational for the public or for youth, etc., around Garland County. We also want nominations for the Friend of the Master Gardener. That could be a business or an organization that supports us. And also a Friend of the Master Gardeners that is an individual person that supports us. I was trying to think of the appropriate award for Rick Bentz, considering. And then I got all confused. It's like he did all this work, but he's not really a Master Gardener, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should have a, let's give Rick a certificate nomination. Okay? But I've got to tell you, so by October 1st, we want these. The committee is going to be reviewing them, and we'll be celebrating all of this. Everybody that gets nominated is going to be celebrated, and we'll announce the winners. We'll have a presentation in the January meeting of next year, okay? I will be out in the lobby. I have got the forms for you, and if you need to see who has won awards in the past, I have a list of those as well. Does anybody have a question for Ms. Shar?
Sheila, just a suggestion, you might want to post Tony back there. Nobody will get out of here without those.
Tony. Shar, I'm loving it.
We get on Lamborghini?
Tony, also known as the Pit Bull. That would be fantastic. Tony will come get you if I don't have a sheet from you. Okay, we appreciate you all nominating and voting for these things. And taking a minute to celebrate what we do, because it's significant when you think about it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay, we're wrapping up. We have announcements now, and then we'll have our show and tell table. Fall Festival, Linda Riddle had just a couple of comments.
June Ann could not be here today. So October 17th is our Master Gardener birthday party. And that's the fall, we're gonna do a fall festival. We're gonna have pie a la mode. Also a pie contest. So everybody bring a pie, enter it in the contest. Cream pies, fruit pies, meat pies, I don't know, just as long as it's a pie. And yeah, we're gonna furnish the drinks and ice cream for everybody, so be sure to come.
Sounds wonderful. Okay, I wanted to make an announcement about a yoga class specific for gardeners. Susan Fuller is offering a class. We'll run it in Constant Contact tomorrow. That'll have her phone number and email address so that you can contact her. But this is a class designed for all of us who maybe get down and have a little trouble getting back up, for learning some stretches and all that you can do before you start your gardening that'll make it a little easier, and many other safety concerns that as gardeners we ought to be more mindful of. We'll have a little write-up about the class. She's going to offer it at the depot, the transportation depot. It is free. We would love for all of you to take advantage of it if you have the time and want to stretch out a bit. Okay, Alan Wright has an announcement from Hostas. Come on up, Alan.
I can use my teacher voice.
That's pretty good.
Am I supposed to look at the camera?
Yeah.
Here, right here. Over here.
Oh, here it is. Yes, the Hosta Society and Shade Plant Society is having a meeting at 10 o'clock in the Garland County Library, and we're bringing in our big-time speaker for the year. This is a guy named Bob Solberg, also known as Hosta Bob. So he's very famous, holds a lot of national offices. He's the president of the Dixie Regional for Hostas. Lynn has a very good article in the paper that has all his credentials and would be happy for you to show up and listen to him. If you want to come, please send me an email so we can make sure we have enough chairs. My name is Alan Wright. You can send the email to adwright115@gmail.com.
It's in the roster. It's in the roster.
It's in the roster also.
And this is a good way to
It's
get
in my back pocket.
education. Tell them it's a good way to get your education.
It's a good education hours. It's this Saturday. I'm sorry, did I miss the important part? Garland County Library, Saturday, 10 o'clock. Come at 9:30 for a cookie.
Wonderful refreshment.
Wonderful refreshments. Is that everything?
Yes. Counts as education.
Counts as education. I said that twice.
Thank you. Okay, Nancy asked me, let's see, come on up, and for Sow and Tell, do y'all have something for Sow and Tell today? Okay, Karen will say something about that. Let me also say Nancy asked us to take up the chairs on the left, leave the set on the right. Only the left side are going to be stored today.
We want the other left. What left?
My left. Your Right. Okay, Karen.
Okay, just to let you know that,
Come up.
Come on, Karen.
My prize, there's no drawing. But my prize to you is I'm handling your soil samples. So I will take them to the extension office tomorrow. If I get my car back, it's in the body shop. I hit the house. So, ran over all my good plants too. But anyway, I'll try to take care of that tomorrow. And so thank you to everybody that brought samples. And now is a good time to test your plants. You'll have to go to the extension office if you didn't bring it today and find out what you need to amend your soil with, if anything. So it depends on what you're growing. That's why we wrote green beans and corn and different things. Some things need loamy soil, some need more drainage, sand, whatever it is. Some more alkaline, depends on what you're growing. At any rate, I'll do that. Second, I have a second thing, the parade. I know it's not till March and nobody's thinking about that right now. But my understanding is we have the budget for it this year. And actually we have all the things that we made last year in the storage building. And what we are lacking is a place to work on our float. I think we can do it in 2 or 3 meetings, but we need a place that's close to the transportation depot because that's where it starts. And get this rolling if we're going to do it. We're open. We can do what we did last year, which is great, but we can also, we're open to new ideas. I'm for simple. It's hard to round up all the 200 people, so it's keep it simple, stupid, me. So that's all.
Okay, thank you. Karen. Okay, are there any other announcements? Judy?
Vote for me. No, it's very important that you check your voter registration if you have not voted in the last election. There were many people purged from the voting list, so you can go to voterview.org, that's one word, voterview.org, put in your first name, last name, and your birth date, and if you show up, you're registered. You go down to the bottom of the page and see your districts. You just touch the little district button, and it will have your precinct, your township, your district, your JP district, all that kind of stuff. But we were registering people at the library yesterday, and someone came by and said, yes, I'm registered, and they said, I haven't voted for 4 years. And when we looked them up, they were not registered. So the last day to register is October the 7th. And if you are postmarking a voter registration, please postmark it several weeks before. I mean, now is the time to do it if you're going to mail it. But you can also drop it at the county clerk's office, and they're having voter registration Mondays through Wednesdays at the library. 10 to 2, they'll take it down there to the county clerk for you, and they'll do it 10 to 1 on Saturdays until the end of voter registration. So anyway, just check your voters because, you know, some of us didn't make the list. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
If you voted in the last presidential election,
You're fine. But, you know, if you just want to look yourself up, it's very easy. Voterview.org. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Any other announcements? Okay, our next meeting is October 17th. Hope you'll all make it. Meeting adjourned.